Good evening, friends. This is Pradeep from Tech and Training Corporate Solutions. Once again, on 14th day of our webinar series, 15-day, 15-session webinar series with Power Pivot. So, friends, before we get started, once again, let me request each one of you to kindly go ahead and make some donation towards PM Cares. You may also choose any other organization of your choice because random act of kindness matters here. Which organization are you donating for does not matter. You can even go ahead and scan this QR code to go to this website and make some donation to PM Cares. Now here we are on 14th day of our session, which is Power Pivot. In this Power Pivot session, we are going to learn about how do we manage the huge data as well as working with data and working with relationship. A lot of things that we can do here. I'm not sure how many of you are comfortable with MS Access. Most of the people, those who have been using MS Access, now for them it's time to migrate to Power Pivot. So friends, let's go ahead and learn more about this session. But before we go ahead, let me once again make this announcement. Our emails will continue from pradeep@techandtraining.biz. Make sure that you register this email address because whenever we send email, if you want to receive our emails, it should land in your inbox. So this is our email address. You can register just in case if you are not receiving our emails. You can register once again with your personal email address because possibly your corporate email address is being blocked by the server because we are using mass mailing service, and if your organization is blocking such emails, then you will not receive our emails. Now friends, one more thing. This is the URL for our playlist. Yesterday's video is uploaded. On this playlist, you can go there and watch the video to learn about previous sessions that we have done. All those sessions have been recorded and uploaded on YouTube. So friends, just in case if you have any question, query or concern, you can ask questions at the bottom of our training videos or YouTube videos. This is my profile. I would request you, if you like our channel, then it's my humble request that you go to this YouTube URL, that is youtube.com/c/Pradeep Pradeshi. Prashant posting this link on the Q&A panel so that you can click on that and subscribe to our channel. This is my profile link on LinkedIn. If you think these trainings are good or if you think some improvements are needed, you can even go to my profile and post the comments over there. I would love to hear from you on LinkedIn as well, and please do connect with me. This is a brief information about my profile. You may go through it. Now friends, let me once again remind you that this is a one-way communication. You can ask questions only on Q&A panel. I cannot listen to what you're saying. This is a one-way communication as mentioned. So whatever questions that you have, please do ask those questions in Q&A panel only. And do give the feedback towards the end of the training program. That really help us to improve for our next programs. I would once again now request you to register for this workshop by Dr. Radhakrishnan Pillai. This workshop is going to be held on 1st May. So this is no more 15 days, 15 webinar. It's 15 plus 1 day, 15 plus 1 webinar. And Prashant is now posting the link of this registration link of this webinar. You can come and join us for this webinar as well. Friends, one more thing that I would like to request all of you. I have been conducting training since 13 days now. This is our 14th day, just to be connected with you all in future as well. And I do understand that I have not been able to give significant amount of time because it is 1 hour which was restricted to each topic, and we went through a lot of topics. But now here I announce one webinar or training program. The cost of those training programs are written next to it. This is a 3 days training program which will be between 6 to 7 hours. I won't be noting the time just in case if the webinars are going very successful as in if we have the time remaining, or if the time is over but still some topics are remaining, I would not hesitate to increase the duration. So it's at the moment 6 to 7 hours. but it is not consistent consecutive 6 to 7 hours, but in 2 days. So 9th and 10th, 3 to 3.5 hours we can expect this session from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. So PowerPoint, that is the cost. Power Query and Power Pivot, that is a separate program which is on Excel. And if you would like to join this workshop, Prashant is posting another registration link, or you can mail us on the same email ID, that is pradeep@techandtraining.biz. We will respond to your email immediately within 24 hours. And let me tell you, these are the dates: 9th, 10th May, 16th, 17th May, 23rd, 24th May. We have limited seats. I'm not going to exceed more than 30 participants. 30, that is on the higher side. That's the maximum that we are going to allow. We won't be accepting any further registration. There is one more free Power BI half a day workshop, which is going to be on 13th May. This is only for the people, those who register for all these three workshops together. Yeah. So if you're registering for all these three workshops, then this half a day, which is 10 to 1 p.m. free Power BI workshop. Now, the reason it is free is because Power Query and Power Pivot that we learned yesterday and we are learning today contributes to 60% of Power BI. So if you have learned Power Query, Power Pivot, then not much thing that is pending that is required to be done in Power BI. But still, there are few features which still would need to be done, which are separate from Power Query and Power Pivot, that we will be doing in this half a day free session. Yeah. So that's going to be completely free for the people, those who are registering for all these three workshops. And the cost of these three workshops together, if you sign up till tomorrow 9 p.m., it's just 20,000 rupees. Yeah. So that's the early bird discount for the people, those who register till tomorrow 9 p.m. And further payment details and everything will be mailed to you tonight by my colleague Prashant. Yeah. So friends, let me not spend much time here. I wish you all very happy learning. Let's go ahead and get started with our Power Pivot session. Okay, let me show you the mail. Today, I thank one of our participants, Priyanka Agarwal. She brought to my notice that I sent a wrong link, but don't worry, I am going to be sending. I have updated the link on the same URL, so you don't have to download a separate email or separate URL. On the same URL, I have uploaded the Power Pivot file. Yeah. So I was actually in the morning updating all the videos. By the way, let me tell you, all our videos on YouTube has the link of our practice files. So many people, those who did not receive the practice files for any specific reason, they can go to our YouTube channel, and in description section you can download the practice file. So I'm now going to show you, and then I'm going to also show you how to download the practice files from YouTube channel. So here is the link. Please download today's practice files. When you click on this, this opens up, and here there is one folder which is Power Pivot. It's a very small file. I have not uploaded a big database as I was thinking yesterday, because it's almost 770 MB, 800 MB. So you can say close to 1 GB of data, which we generally use. But I'm going to show you how to manage such a huge data in Excel. So this is a Power Pivot folder. You can simply right click and download this file, and we can start working on this file. Okay. So friends, this is the file which is in the same link. You have to go to this URL, which is Power Pivot. Just download this folder or the file, and then we'll get started. The friends, those who have missed our previous sessions, you can go to our YouTube playlist, and in the playlist here, when you go here, this is the playlist, as I've already given you the link. Let's say I would like to learn about yesterday's session, which is Power Query. So I click here, Power Query, and here is the show more option, and here is the link of the file. Yeah. So likewise, I have added the link of each and every session, which for which I had sent you the file, like PowerPoint, Power Query, Power Pivot, and all those sessions. I have uploaded the links here. Yeah. So make sure that you click here and download the Excel files, just in case if you have missed any, and start practicing on your systems. Okay. So friends, now let's get started with our session. Okay. I'll close Outlook and my browser. Now let me open my Excel. Now friends, let me also tell you one more thing. First step when you talk about working with Power Pivot is activating Power Pivot. Okay. Now when I talk about activating Power Pivot, it is not by default enabled for each and every user. That's the first thing. Second thing is it is only available. Let me go ahead and show you actually. File, account, and when you go to file, account, here you have the option or the license of the product that you're using. When you talk about the license of the product here, this product license, if it is standard version, you do not have full-fledged version of Power Pivot. Yeah. If you have the professional version, then you have Power Pivot available. Yeah. As I mentioned yesterday that it is available in professional versions. Now, since I've been talking about Power Pivot, I forgot to mention why Power Pivot and what is Power Pivot. If you talk about the discussion that I was initially doing, that Power Pivot is something better than Access. Now, what is Access? Access is nothing but relational database. Okay. Relational database means you have separate files, separate sheets. Your data is scattered in multiple sheets. What you can do is, at the moment, what do? You keep doing VLOOKUP. When you do VLOOKUP, you get the data from one table to another table. And when you get the data from one table to another table, and when you are working with huge data, your Excel file becomes pathetically slow. And it takes a lot of time to open up, right? So for that, we use a new add-in, which is Power Pivot. Now, like I said, that is available for Office 365 users. So in Office 365, Power Pivot is available. Now, the next thing is, by default, this Power Pivot will not be available to you. How do you activate Power Pivot? So when you go to Home tab, let's take a look here. Home tab on the right hand side, I have a new tab which is Power Pivot. On your screen, this Power Pivot is not available because it's missing. Yeah. So let's learn about how do we activate Power Pivot before we get started to work on it. So let's go ahead and click on File first of all. Yeah. When we click on File, then we need to click on Options. When we go to Options here, we come to this Excel option screen. Now we have to go to Add-ins, and when we click on Add-ins here, on the right hand side, here at the bottom, see here we have Add-ins. On the right hand side at the bottom, we see the option that says Excel Add-ins. Okay, so now we have Excel Add-ins. When we click on Excel Add-ins, here I see an option that says COM Add-ins. Yeah, so I see an option that says COM Add-ins. I click on COM Add-ins, and here we click on Go. Yeah. When we click on Go, here we see a lot of options. So here I have Inquire. Let me show you what is Inquire. I'll just quickly verbally I'll tell you. Then we have Power Map, Power Pivot, and Power View. So Power View is now going to be discontinued very soon by Microsoft because it's based on obsolete technology, which is Silverlight. So if you enable or not enable, it's okay. We are not going to talk about Power View. We are going to focus on Power Pivot. So if you want, you can check all of these options. Once you check Power Pivot, now you click OK, and you will see a new tab that has got added, which is called as Power Pivot. Okay. Now friends, when we have activated this Power Pivot, now it's time to get started with the data. Okay. Before we go ahead on Power Pivot, let me once again tell you, if you have a huge data, you need Power Pivot. If you spread the data into multiple sheet or multiple file, you need Power Pivot. If you do a lot of analysis, you need Power Pivot. If your worksheet is filled with a lot of formula and complex formula which works pathetically slow, you need Power Pivot. And Power Pivot, like I said, is available in Office 365 version, Office 2016 professional version, Office 2019 professional version. It is also there in Office 2013. I'm sorry, I missed talking about 2013. It is also there in Office 2013, but again it is there in the professional version. Okay. So friends, now what we are going to talk about is, now we are going to import a very huge data. Now let me tell you that friends, I have not sent you this data, so you can just take a look for the moment. I'm going to show you how can we import huge data. and what is the total capacity of data that can be handled with Power Pivot. Yeah, it's not the total capacity. I'm sorry, pardon my words. It is a very minuscule amount of capacity that I'm going to be showing you today. Yeah. So this data, as you can see, the size of this data is 770 MB. Let's take a look. This is the file. This is the size 770 MB. Such a huge data. And if you remember, I have taught you one trick. Right click by holding shift key. When you do right click by holding shift key, you get the file path, which you can copy the file path including the file name. You need not click here because that gives you only the name till folder. It does not add the file name to it. So now I've got the file name. I'm going to now add this data into Power Pivot. Now see, how do I add? Again, I go to data. Now see, Power Pivot is the data container where you're going to store the data. But the gateway is still Power Query. If you remember, yesterday we did a session on Power Query. So the gateway is Power Query. When we talk about Power Query, again I need to go to get data from database. Yeah. So those who are using Office 2013, if they have downloaded Power Query, they can click here. Those who are using 2016, they can go to data, new query, and then you need to click on from database, from access database. Yesterday we did not use this connector. So I click on access database here, and after I click on access database, I just paste the path. Okay, this is the same path that I copied by using copy as path, if you remember. I have copied the path. Now I click on open. Now let's take a look at the data. So here I have select multiple. Now these are nothing but table. In Excel we have multiple sheet within the same Excel file, but in Access we have multiple tables. So I check all of these tables. I'm checking all these tables at the same time, and now I need not transform the data because I do not want to play around with this data or mash this data. I just want to load this data in Power Pivot. So I'll click on load, but I'll not directly click on load. I'll go ahead and click on load to. Now when I click on load to, here is the screen that I have. I repeat the steps once again, those who did not follow up till here. I went to get data from database and then I selected access. A screen came up. Over there I select load to. Now here, until yesterday we learned about only this option. By default this option gets activated. Table means it is going to import the data within Excel. I don't want the data within Excel. I want it to be just connection. Now when I say connection, this doesn't mean that the data is not going to be imported into Power Pivot. If I don't check this option, then the data remains in Access and I'm still using the data. But what I'm doing right now, I'm checking this data which says add this data to data model. Data model is nothing but our Power Pivot. So I am going to check this data, add this data to data model, and I click OK. Yeah. Now see, the data is actually being imported. It's not just the connection which is being established. It is being imported into Microsoft Excel. Yeah. So as you can see that it is taking some time because it's a huge database and it is going to take a while, not more than a minute. But anyone knows, okay, let me ask you this question. Whoever knows the answer to this question can let me know in the chat or Q&A panel, what is the total number of rows that we have in Excel? How many rows do we have in Excel? Please let us know in the Q&A panel. So far, but let me tell you, Excel has got 10,48,576 rows. Now see how much data has been imported. 1,04,39,386. Okay, 1,04,39,386 records have been imported in Excel, but you will be surprised to see that not even single row is visible here. Where is this data gone? This data is in Power Pivot. Okay, understand this data is not outside Excel. It is inside Excel, but in a separate container called as Power Pivot. So when you go to data tab, here you have the option of Power Pivot. You can directly open from here, from data tab here, you can open it, or you need to go to Power Pivot tab and here you have the option of manage. Yeah, this manage is nothing but Power Pivot. When you click on Power Pivot, see the entire data is hidden here. It's actually not hidden. It is the screen to work on. So when you see this BI sales fact, here you see this is the data which has got 1 crore records. See here. This is nothing but the same data which is 1 crore 4,38,386 data that was imported in Excel is this data. Okay. Now, before I go ahead and practice something with you, let me show you some magical properties of this Power Pivot. Let me show you this data. Can you guess the size of this file? Can anyone guess the size of this file? The original size of Access file was 770 MB. So original size of this file was 770 MB. Now let me do something and then I'll show you the size. This is pivot table. Let me go ahead and create a pivot table here. So I go to pivot table. Now friends, do not get confused that I am working and you do not have the files to work upon. I am just showing you the capacity that Power Pivot can handle. Give me 3 more minutes and within 3 minutes I'll wrap up this session and we'll practice together. Okay. So here when I go to insert pivot table, I am not selecting select table or range or external data source, but I am using this option which says use this workbooks data model. Okay. When I say use this workbooks data model, that means this data model is going to be used, which is nothing but our Power Pivot file. Now I click on Power Pivot and here I would like this data to be added here and I click OK. Now see how fast does this work. Remember, it has got 1 crore record. Okay. Now see, it is working, but now I would like to get the data from products, manufacturer. It does not allow me. Here I am talking about this manufacturer. It does not allow me. That is because we have not created the relationship, and I'm not going to talk about relationship right now, but we both, all of us will do it together. Okay. So I'm not going to work or create relationship. I'll show you the relationship and all those things towards the end of the program if we still have time. But this relationship thing that I'm going to try with you all. But before that, I asked you a question. What is the size of this file? The size of this file is file. I go to info and see that entire 770 MB of data got compressed to 32.4 MB. Isn't that amazing, friends? 770 MB of data got compressed to 32 MB. So we can say 33 MB. Still, you can see the amount of compression that it has done to this data. And see, despite it being 33 MB file, let's do one thing. Let me close this file. The file's name is Power BI data file. I'm closing this file and see this is 33 MB file. Let me go ahead and open this file once again. See how lightning fast this file is. Even though it has 1 crore records, I'm again saying don't think that the data is in Access file and I'm just opening a preview of that data. No, the data is now in Power Pivot and it is in compressed format. So when you import the data into Power Pivot, what exactly happens? Power Pivot brings the data, downloads the data from the source, and also it compresses the data. As you can see that the size has reduced drastically, and that is the power of Power Pivot. Okay, so let's go ahead and explore the power of Power Pivot together. Now we are going to talk about the same Excel file that I've given to all of you. So it's global superstore data that I've given to all of you. So now I'm going to use this global superstore data. Let's open this global superstore data that you have downloaded. Okay. So friends, now what we are going to do is we have to get this data into Power Pivot. Okay. Now, let me tell you one thing. Yesterday we learned about importing the data from another Excel file to this Excel file, to another Excel file, from one Excel file to a second Excel file. I did not tell you the data. What if my data is existing in Excel file and I do not want to create a new file? Then what do I do? Okay, let's start from there. First thing that we will do, as from the day one of Excel, I have been telling you use table. So here table usage of table is mandatory. So what we are going to do, I am going to select for table, no need of selection. So I select Control T. When I press Control T, I ensure that this box is checked, which is my table has headers. Okay. When I check this box, my table has headers. I click OK. Automatically, this becomes a table for me. Okay. When this becomes a table, immediately I am going to give this a name as design. Okay, I'm assuming that all of you are on this file. All you have to do is Control T. The moment you create Control T, the table automatically gets created and it goes to design tab, and here we have the name of the table, which is table 1. I'm going to rename it to order details, and make sure that you do not leave a space in between. If you do, it is going to give you the error. See, I'm going to do it. Let me give a space and error. Yeah, it gives me syntax error. So I name it as order details. Okay. Similarly, I'll go to customers, Control T. I'll ensure that this box is checked, which says my table has headers. Please do not do it blindly. This box is very important. Let's say if you do not do it, what will happen? Excel is going to create additional header, and all you have to do is Control Z and do it again. Yeah, so make sure that this box should be checked. I press OK and name it as customer details. Now I have third data, which is products. I'll name this as table, and see here this box is not checked, which says my table has headers. It's very important and critical, so I check this box and then I click OK, and again in design tab I go to this box which says table 4. I name it as product details. Okay, so I've created 3 different table, and now see how do we bring this table data into table Power Pivot. I'm assuming that all of you have attended the session yesterday, so I'm not explaining Power Query much, but I'm just simply going to tell you that yesterday we imported the data of one Excel file to another Excel file by using this utility, which is from workbook. We can surely do that, and ideally you should be doing this particular method of importing one Excel file's data to another Excel file. Why? Because if you have a new data, you can simply replace the existing data, older data. Yesterday someone asked the question towards the end of the program and I did not answer. Probably I answered, I'm not sure, but someone asked me a question, how to replace the data. So there are multiple ways, and one of the ways is, if I have a data from one Excel file and got the data, same data into another Excel file, then I can simply replace the source data or source Excel file, and automatically my data in Power Pivot will get refreshed. I mean, of course I have to click on refresh and then only it will refresh, but it will get refreshed as easy as clicking on the button refresh all. Yeah, but here I'm just going to teach you something different. Let's say my data is in Excel and I don't want to create another Excel file. What do we do now? So here we go to data tab again. In your case, it will be Power Query tab if you're using Office 2013. And here under the get and transform data, right? Here we have something which says from table or range, or in Power Query tab, if you're using 2013, it will be from table or range. I click on from table or range. When I click on that, see friends, this is now opening our Power Query editor. When it opens Power Query editor, like I said, Power Query is nothing but a gateway to Power Pivot. So all the transformation that you want to do, you will do it here, and then you will send the structured data to Power Pivot, because Power Pivot requires a good structured data. So I go ahead and click on close and load, but this time I'm not going to load the data, because see, if I load the data directly, this is going to get loaded in Excel, and Excel has got limited rows and it has limited capacity. 1 crore records, that means 10 million records. It's pretty big data. So we are going to go ahead and choose load to. I repeat, we are not going to click on load, but we are going to click on load to. Yeah. So when I click on load to, this option comes here. Again, I'm going to do the same thing. See, I don't want to click table, because if I do, see, please be slow on this step. Do not hurry up. I'm also going slow so that you don't make a mistake along with me. You need not click on table, because if you do, the data will get imported in Excel file. Yeah, or Excel sheet, I mean. Here I'm going to click on only create connection, and I'm going to check this box that says add this data to data model. Yeah, this is the same option that we used earlier. So now I have clicked on only create connection, and I am clicking on add this data to data model. Now see here, it is showing how many rows have been loaded, but unlike yesterday, it is not creating a separate sheet. Similarly, we'll go to customer sheet and again do the same step, data from table or range, close and load 2. Do not click on close and load, click on close and load 2. And when you click on close and load 2, here you have the option only create connection and check this box that says add this data to data model. When you check this box which says add this data to data model, click OK. So now customer details have been imported. Yeah. Now we'll go ahead and repeat the same process with from table, not load but load 2, create connections, add this data to data model. Okay. Now it may happen that some of you might have made a mistake, that you would have clicked on table or anything else. You can anytime go to right click, load to option, but again this load to option may not be available if you're using older version of Power Query. Okay, if your Power Pivot or Power Query is the older version, this may not be available. What next? Now what we're going to do here is, let us see, we have created everything in Power Pivot. Now what we are going to do is, we'll click on Power Pivot or go to Power Pivot tab which is activated, and we'll click on manage. When we click on manage here, we have this table, everything is there in Power Pivot. Okay. Now whenever you go to Power Pivot, the first thing that you need to do is to understand the data, and second thing, see, no matter whatever we do in Excel, most of the time we end up creating pivot table report, and here also we will create pivot table report, and our pivot table report is going to be the summary of the entire data. So when we have to end up with pivot table report, we do a lot of lookups. If you remember, if I do not have entire data in one table, if I have to get the data from another table, I'll do VLOOKUP and get the data from other table to this table. Let me tell you, here you need not do VLOOKUP. Although there are functions that can help you to do lookup, but you need not do VLOOKUP. So let's see what needs to be done here. So first thing that I am going to do is, I'm going to create relationship. Yeah. When I talk about relationship means connecting the two data sources. So I go to diagram view here. So when I'm in Power Pivot window, I go to diagram view, and when I click on diagram view here, you will see that there are three tables that we have created. This is one table, this is another table, and this is product name table. Okay. So let me do it this way. Orders table is nothing but the common table between these three tables. Okay. Now why orders table is common table? Let me make you understand this entire concept. If a customer places the order for a product, that means he has to make an entry to the order details table. If product is being sold, the entry is going to be added into order details table, which product is being sold to whom and who is ordering that product. So that means this is nothing but a transaction table, right? So I have given you a very simple and small crisp data. Yeah. Now, first thing that you need to do is, when I say in orders table, let's say if I'm making an entry, what do I need? I want to find out who is the customer, what product is being sold. So who is the customer is identified by customer ID here. Now see, how do I connect customer ID here and here? Just by dragging customer ID over here. See, the moment I drag customer ID, you will see that automatically customer ID and customer ID gets highlighted, and there is a line here which connects both of them, and here one means one customer ID is available. That means, see, let's take an example. I have multiple customer IDs. Okay, so I have multiple customer IDs here. Okay, but one customer will not have multiple customer IDs. Every unique customer will have unique ID. That's the concept. But it may also happen that one customer may place multiple orders, so his name will be repeated here. So here customer ID is unique, but here it will not be unique. It will be different, so that we can find out one customer has placed how many products. That's the logic. Now see, when you create relationship, one and many, one to many is one standard relationship that happens here. Yeah, there are multiple types of relationships. I'm not getting into the detail. Let's only talk about one to many. So this is one to many. Now here, let us see what are the problems that we may come across just in case if we talk about relationship. So I go ahead and product ID and connect this product ID. So make sure that you do not import any blank row or column. So what we have done here is we have created one-to-many. That means one product ID will be unique to that respective product, but that product can be ordered many times by different customer or maybe the same customer. So again, we have to make an entry here. So this dragging and dropping is one simple way of creating relationship. So friends, this is the way you can create relationship, and the other way you can go to design tab and you can click on create relationship. When you click on create relationship, now we are not going to do it, but I'm just going to tell you here there's one table, and here we'll select another table and we'll say which table ID of which table is going to be connecting together. So this category has to be connected to product ID, or maybe let's say order ID is going to be connected to product ID. That's how we have to identify the common column and click OK. I'm not doing that right now. This is not the right example. Do not follow this. This is just an example that I'm telling you how can we use this create relationship. First select the two table and identify the columns within those two tables which are engaged in relationship. Yeah. Now, one thing which is very important, although I said you need not do VLOOKUP, but VLOOKUP is necessary. Not consciously, but subconsciously, people need it, because if in Excel, if you do not discuss VLOOKUP, if you do not discuss pivot table, people think Excel training was incomplete. So here I am going to talk about VLOOKUP. Now, what do I need here? Let us take an example. I have product details here. Okay. Now, what I want here I have product details, and here I have order details. Here I have customer details, and here I have order details. Now, understand, we have two tables. We can bring this data over here or some of this data here. Okay. So, we may want to look either side of these two columns. Now, what do we do here? If we are looking at either side of this column, which column do we have to get the data here? Let's say in orders details, I want to identify which region this customer belongs to. I repeat, in the order details, I want to get the data from customer details like region name. Okay, which region does this customer belong to? I repeat, in the order table, I am going to do VLOOKUP here, and I need to get the data from here. Okay, I need to get the data from here. Now, which side of the table are we on? Sorry, which side of this relationship are we on? We are on the many side. Why is this many side? Because one customer ID can place multiple orders. So we are on the many side, and we have to get the data from one side. That means for this customer ID, there is one value which exists here. So I have only one value that I have to pick up. Now see how easy is it to do VLOOKUP. Now I go to data sheet view, and I need to go to order details table. When I go to order details table, I go on the right hand side and I can create columns. Now friends, most of the Excel functions work here. So whatever, like if, and, or, not count, count function will work. I'm going to show you an example of that, but most of the Excel functions, logical functions that can be used on the entire data will work here. Okay, let me add a column here. The name of the column will be order region. I give the name. Now here I have given the name, but here I have to type the formula. I can even type like this, order region. Now because I have created the column name, I do not do it. Otherwise I can write the formula like this. So I write formula. Now I want to get the data from the customers table. So I'm going to write related. I'll write related function, and see, the moment I use related function, Excel now knows this particular table, order table, is connected to customers table and it is connected to products table. Now when you are doing related, which data do you want to pick up? I say region, which is in customer details table. The moment I click on region and I close the bracket, see, this is my VLOOKUP. Such a simple thing, very simple thing. Okay. So here what I did was we wanted to do VLOOKUP. So I need not do VLOOKUP. I just did related function, and the moment I did related function, automatically it asked me which column do you want to pick up, and automatically it picked up one column. Okay. So let's go ahead and go to diagram view. We were on the many side. Remember, when you are on the many side, you have to use related table, and I have got the order region details. Next thing that we will talk about here is we have created the table and we have created the relationships. Let me check the relationship once again. The relationship is between customer ID. Yeah, that is perfect. That's perfect. And here also it is perfect. Okay. Understand, friends, what we are going to do now. We have created this relationship. Now we may also want to get some summary. Okay. So I have some data here, sales column and profit column, right? So I would like to get the total sales and total profit. I just want to see. So this area is nothing but calculation area that you have. So what I'm going to do is I am going to talk about here total sales colon equal to. We have to write the syntax like this. And now here I'll type sum of sales. So when I write sales, automatically it will identify that order sales, which is in order. That means from order details table, I want to get the sales. So I take sales and I close the bracket and I press enter. So this is something similar what we do in Excel. Okay. So now when we expand this column, see here it gives you the total sales. Okay. Now you can even select the percentage or dollar value or how many zeros do you want to decimal places and all those things. You can. Another operation is in progress. Okay. Yeah. So I press multiple times anyways. So here you can go ahead and get these formatting like we do. This is called as number formatting in our Excel. So I wanted comma, that two decimal places and all those things that you can easily do it here. Now similarly, now I need to get total profit, sum of total profit. So I'm going to talk about total profit outside, just in case if when we are not working on this window, how do we get the total profit here? So now let's say we have done this entire calculation, entire formula we have done. Now I close this bracket, and what I'm going to do now is I want to create a pivot table report. Okay. Now how do I create pivot table report? First thing, I can click on new worksheet, and here once I click new worksheet, I go to insert pivot table, and here I'm going to choose use this workbooks data model. When I click on use this workbooks data model, I click OK, and see here it gets me. Now this is something similar to your pivot table report, but your pivot table, generally the field list doesn't look like this because every container has got multiple data. Okay. Now let me tell you that these tables we are not going to use because we have already imported these tables over here. Okay. So those tables are almost kind of redundant. Okay. Now what we are going to do here is we are going to go ahead and import this data and create pivot table report. First thing that I am going to do here, because I have got everything here, I'll go ahead and click on customer data, and I would like to get the regional data. So these are nothing but our regions. Do you get it? These are regions. Now this is one sheet that we got the data from. Because we have created relationship, I am now going to go to orders table and let me add the sales amount. Okay. Now we got the sales amount, total sales amount. But we also calculated this function, isn't it? Yeah. We calculated this function, which is nothing but total sales. What I'm going to do, I'm going to add this also here. Both are nothing but giving me the same value, right? So why did I calculate total sales? Yeah. There was no need to calculate total sales because I get total sales directly. Yeah. But I'm going to tell you why do we need to calculate total sales. Similarly, I can calculate total profit, right? I want to calculate average profit. So I come here, I add profit, and here we have this value field setting. See, everything that we have in normal Excel, it's working as a normal Excel. So I've got average profit, sum of profit to total sales, and sum of sales. Yeah. So I am getting everything just like a normal Excel works with me. Okay. Now friends, if you remember in the morning, let me remove unwanted fields here. Sum of profit and all. Okay. Sum of sales I remove. Okay. So this is nothing but total sales. Now I told you in the beginning that we can do a lot of data analytical functions here. So most of the people, those who do analysis, they do a lot of YTD, MTD, struggle with. Okay. Now what I want to do is I would like to calculate the YTD values. Now YTD value requires a date table. Whenever you work in a Power Pivot, if you want to do the analysis on date, you must go ahead and use or create a date table. So what I'm going to do now, I go to Power Pivot, manage. Okay. When I go to Power Pivot and then if I go to manage, I go to design and here I have something called as date table. So I click on date table and I click on new. Yeah. When I click on new, see automatically one new table got inserted with the name calendar. And see here I get all year, month, month name, month number, everything is getting calculated automatically. Okay. Now see what I'm going to do. I close this table. So I've created date table. I close this and now here if I view here, I got one more calendar, one more table as calendar. Let me at the bottom or let me on the side create one more pivot table. So I go to insert, pivot table, again use this workbooks data model. I click OK. So this is going to give me the similar feature that we generally do it in Excel. Now I'm going to get year. So this is nothing but 2011 to 2015 data we have available with us. Now I want to see total profit and total sales. Now see what exactly happens. I drag sales and it says relationship is not created. And see, generally you will get the values like this. The same value will repeat. Whenever you get the same value repeats, understand that could be a problem with the relationship. Yeah, like it says, relationship between table may be needed because we have not created or connected the table with the relationship. We have created a new table, that is calendar table, but we did not create a relationship. So what we are going to do, I click on create and here what I'm going to do, calendar should be connected to order details table. Now in order to be able to select like this, you need to understand the table very well. Yeah, so here I have date and here I have, now see the problem here in our data is ship date and there is one more date, order date. Yeah, there are two types of date, one is ship date and the other one is order date. How do we manage these two things? So at the moment that is another issue because at times you may want to calculate with respect to order date, at times you may want to calculate with respect to ship date. So that's another concept which I'm not getting into right now. So every analysis that I'm going to do now will be based on order date. So I click OK and see relationship has been created and I have the data from 2011 to 2014. Okay. Now I did not want this data. I wanted the data YTD data. Okay. So what I'm going to do is let me also add month here so that I can get YTD data. Let me add month here. Okay. So this is January, February, March and this is the data that we have. Let me see how to calculate YTD. Sorry, I added sum of sales. Let me add this total sales. Why am I not adding total sales? See, figures are exactly the same, but this is more structured with one decimal value and comma and all those things. So it is readable. So let me remove that. That is one reason because of which I would love to have total sales, but that is not the only reason. I can format the sales also with respect to number formatting, which I didn't do. But anyways, now let me tell you why this total sales is important. Most of the people who struggle with YTD details, MTD or same period last year and all those calculation can be done with just a simple line of function. So friends, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to create function. If you remember, I had written that function at the bottom of the table. Now that was the table specific function. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to create another function. Now how do you write those functions? If you know pivot table, you know calculated columns. In Excel, we have calculated columns in pivot table report. But here, calculated column, these are nothing, this means nothing but calculated measure. There's a difference between column and measure, which I'll explain later. But here, these are nothing but formula. You can compare it with calculated fields, which we have in Excel. So now when we have this total sales, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to pivot table once again and now I need the YTD sales. So I go ahead and add a new measure. New measure, whenever you want to write any formula, mostly you should use measure. You can use calculated field also, but that's for a different reason. Calculated column, not field. Okay, so here what we are going to do is we are going to do measure. When I click on new measure, here I will name this measure as, let's say, YTD. And if you want to write a description, you may, or else you can write the function for YTD is, as you can see, that total YTD is already available. So I select YTD. Now it is asking me for expression. This total says I cannot use the existing column as an input here. I need some expressions, and that expression has already calculating something for me. So what do I need here? I need total YTD for total sales. So I type total sales, comma. It is asking me for dates. When I talk about date, I come here and select calendar date. Now here calendar table is very important. What calendar table does, I actually in a hurry did not tell you the importance of calendar table. Calendar table identifies each row of that table one by one. That means it automatically identifies start date in our data model, and it also looks for the last date in our data model, and ultimately what does it do? It creates the calendar from that date to the last date, and it is dynamic in nature, and it automatically will help you to calculate this time intelligence function. So this total YTD, total MTD, QTD and all those things are nothing but time intelligence functions. So when you go to date, calendar date, now it is asking for filter and year end date. This can be used for fiscal year, but I'm not going further. I'll stop it here and I press enter. So here I have written what kind of calculation needs to be done. Total sales with respect to calendar date, and we need YTD. When I press OK, see automatically here it gives me YTD. Okay, I missed one thing. I missed formatting this column. So I again go to measure, manage measure. So we created new measure. I create manage measure, and this is the measure that we had created and total sales that we had created earlier. So this is nothing but our total YTD. I go to edit, and here I need it to be number with 2 decimal places and 1000 separator, and I click OK and OK. Right? So see here, automatically this is 98, 98 plus 91, 190, 190 plus 145, then all those things. It keeps on adding. It continues till December, and again it starts with January, February, March and all. Now the only problem with this particular approach that we have done is about fiscal year. If your year starts from April to March or July to June, this total YTD is not going to give you the answer so easily. So there's a different way to calculate it, and that's a lengthy way. But here, so simple is YTD, MTD, QTD. Likewise, if you need MTD, you can again, let me show you MTD also. It's very simple. Is it day of week? Let me see if that is the date. Oh, that gives me Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. 1 second. Let me remove it and add something else. This should be the day. Yeah. If I need this to be a proper table, I can go to design. I can go to report layout and I select tabular view. Right? Most of you, what do? You go to classic pivot table report. You need not go to classic pivot table report. You can go to design. You go to report layout and you can use tabular view. There is one more advantage of this report layout. You can say repeat all item label. What will happen? This will fill down. Repeat all item label. So automatically this is got repeated, and here is my item label which is got created. Yeah. So this is nothing but 1st January 2011 and so on and so forth. If I want to calculate MTD or QTD, whatever, again I go to pivot table. I go to measure, new measure. I type total MTD. See, total QTD and MTD are also there. Again total sales, comma date is nothing but a calendar date that we have created. I close the bracket, I give the number formatting and I click OK. Yeah. Now see what exactly happens here. This January, this is the figure, then this figure, then this figure. This is YTD that has changed because we have added number. Okay. So here when you are calculating MTD, YTD, it does not mean anything. So let me remove YTD and let's stick to MTD. So this is January 1st, January, this is the figure. So it keeps on adding the number likewise. So 98 plus 1 total sales. This is the sales. Sorry, this is day of the week. There is some mistake here. 1 second. Sorry, this is nothing but day of the week. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have to have the proper dates here. And this is not giving us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 up till 30. That's a problem. I have selected the wrong field here. Okay, so here, let's say if we have this kind of problem, how do we solve this problem? Right? So we go to this data. I actually miscalculated that. See, this is only the day of the week. It does not give you the date. This is 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. It does not give you that. So how do we calculate that? Let me show that to you here. When you talk about this, I'm going to say day of month. So I created one column day of month, or I should have written date, anything, anyways, equal to day. There is a function day. I choose a function day, and now it is asking me for date. I type date, and this is nothing but calendar date. I press enter, and see here, it will automatically give me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 up till 30, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this column was missing. So now when we come back to this data, automatically it refreshes, and let me remove this particular column, day of week, and from here I come and day of month. See here. So it is 808, then it is 314 added to this added. So it goes till the end of the month, right? See, 98,000 is the total, and then again it starts from February, okay, and it goes till end of the month. Then again it starts with March. Yeah, so these two values are nothing but the same. So this is how we can calculate the value, and this is nothing but cumulative total for the month. So this is how we can easily calculate YTD, MTD, QTD, and so on and so forth. Yeah. Now, so this is how the Power Pivot works, friends. There are a lot of things that we can do with Slicer and all those things. We can create mini dashboard. We can use KPIs. A lot of things are there which I have not covered. And let me tell you, Power Pivot and Power BI, the formula and functions are exactly the same, right? And let me tell you, tomorrow's session is going to be even more interesting, because I am going to show you the stunning artificial intelligence features in Power BI. I am not going to get into formula, functions, and all those things, because Power BI is such a simple tool that a lot of formula function gets auto calculated. You don't need to get into all these things. So like I'm doing MTD and QTD, there is an automatic feature which will give you all formula. Although it is important for you to learn the DAX function. These functions that I have written just now, those are called as DAX, DAX, which is nothing but data analysis and expressions. Okay. Now, so friends, tomorrow we are going to talk about Power BI, where we are going to learn very basic but extremely powerful things which you have never explored. And I'm sure you guys have learned about Power Pivot and the formula and features. Now Prashant is sending the link of the feedback form. Please do fill the feedback, and you can email us regarding this training program, where this is going to be an extensive training program for the entire day. And let me tell you, when we do the training program, it will not be like this one where there is a one-way communication. It will be proper training program online, where you can communicate with me and I can communicate with you. It will be like Zoom call that you may have attended. Although it's not going to be on Zoom, it is going to be on Teams, but it is going to be a proper training program where you can ask your question and I'm going to answer your question right at that point of time. So friends, we will be waiting for your registrations. Prashant is going to send you the registration details for this training program as well in a separate link. So you can register for this training program as well, those who are interested. And the people, those who are signing up for this program till tomorrow 9 p.m, there is a early bird discount where you will get to attend the training program in 20,000 instead of 25,000. Friends, now I'm going to take up the questions. When to use Power Pivot and when MS Access? Okay, very good question. When to use Power Pivot and when MS Access? Let me tell you some differences between MS Access and Power Pivot. MS Access is completely different software. Okay, although some features, functionality of Excel does work there, but that is very limited. Also, the interface is completely different. Second thing, when you work with MS Access, if any one of you have worked with MS Access, let me tell you, you have to start from creating the table. Yeah, you have to define the column values, column fields, column things and everything. And then once you define the table, then you go ahead and create relationships, then you write query, and then you write table and reports. Yeah, and the reports are completely different. Here, Power Pivot is a feature which actually helps you to be in touch with Excel only. You're not moving out of Excel, although the data gets into Power Pivot, but ultimately you are bringing that data back into Excel in the form of pivot table. Okay, one more thing I forgot to tell you. Let me show you one more interesting feature. I'm sorry I forgot to show this feature, but I really like this feature. So take a look at the screen. Now here, ever heard of creating pivot on pivot data? I'm sure you might not have heard of this feature, that you want to create a pivot table on pivot table report. So what I'm going to do is I'm now going to show you how can you use pivot on pivot. See here, this is a pivot table report. I cannot use pivot table over here. See, I cannot use. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to convert these data into formulae. How can we do that? Take a look at the screen, friends. So I go to pivot table analyze, and here I have the option OLAP tools. What I'm going to do, I click on OLAP tools and I'm selecting convert to formula. And when I click on convert to formula, this only works with pivot table report. So now see, these entire pivot table has got converted into formula, and now you can insert pivot table report on this data. Now what is so unique and important about this convert to formula? Let me do Control Z and do some slicer thing. I'm sure you guys would know what is slicer. If you don't know, here is slicer, and I want to create the slicer based on, let's say, region, order region, and I click OK. Now see, when I click on Canada, it gives me Canada data. When I click on Central, it gives me Central data. Okay. Now what I want to do is I click here, go to pivot table analyze, and go to OLAP tools, and then click on convert to formula. When I click on convert to formula, see, all these data have got converted into formula, but these slicers still work on this data. Getting it? It is taking some time, but see, these slicers will still work. Now these are called as cube function. Very interesting. If I talk about, you've asked the question for Excel, but let me get into Power BI. Power BI has a limitation that you cannot write these cube functions in Power BI, but you can do it in Excel. That's the difference in Excel and Power BI. Now coming to your question, Access and Power Pivot. Access is again a great tool, but it is good for the people, those who have been using a lot of relational database on, or professional database creators. But for amateurs like me, who do not work with huge databases or any complicated stuff, I think Power Pivot is much more helpful. And Access was very relevant software. I have trained myself a lot of companies on MS Access till 2011. This Power Pivot was released in 2010. When I learned, I have recommended many companies to switch over to Power Pivot, because Power Pivot is very user friendly. First thing. Second thing, lot of Excel features can work here. And third thing, you do not leave Excel. If you're comfortable with Excel, stick to Power Pivot, because relationship and all those things that I showed is available in Access also. Okay, so that is a different thing. Second thing, Access is good for the people, those who are professional database creators. And if you are a techie person, I would recommend you to learn both Power Query, Power Pivot, and MS Access. One more thing, Power Pivot has got one tool which is coupled with it, which is Power Query, which is not there in Access. You have just queries, but that's different thing altogether. Yeah. Okay, how to select table in data view? Well, I did not understand your question, but I think you're talking about this data view. So this is the entire table, and let me tell you, you can't change the values here. If you want to select the entire table, you can do it, but you can't change any of these values. If you want these values to change, you need to go to the source data. Yeah, very good question. How can we find the distinct count? See, once you have the data in the data model, now distinct count is very simple. You get the category here, and now the way you go to Excel, you go to this option, field settings, and when you go to field settings here, when you scroll down, you get distinct count. This distinct count is not available in normal Excel. I'm scrolling down. You won't find this in normal Excel. This will only be available in pivot table report, which is of Power Pivot, which is based on data model. So this is how we can get the distinct count. This data has to be in Excel format or can be binary, which will be imported to Power Pivot. Okay, so when you talk about binary Excel files like save as binary, again, like I said, binary is not compatible with Power Query. Hence, I would recommend if your data is in binary format, convert it back to Excel and then import it. Yeah, Power Query is not compatible with binary files. That's the problem. Yeah. So friends, I had these questions and let me see if there are any more questions that I have missed answering. Okay, can you share DAX formula list? Okay, DAX formula, there are plenty of DAX formula. Let me tell you, you don't need DAX formula list here because there are plenty of formula. See, if you talk about DAX formula, I'll also take you one step further. Even Power Query has its own list of functions and formula. So you've got a lot of things to learn. So let's say I talk about calculate in DAX. When I do that, it automatically look for this website docs.microsoft.com. When you go to docs.microsoft.com, here is the entire DAX list along with explanation. Yeah. So everything that you're asking for, I'm still learning DAX because as you can see, there are plenty of DAX functions which are available that you can work with. So this is how you can work with DAX functions and formula. Okay, so friends, that's it for now. I think here we have covered a lot of things for today. If you have any questions, please go ahead and write to me on our YouTube channel. And see, by tomorrow, these videos will be available there. You can ask questions. Yeah, some of you have asked questions, but to be very honest, we were completely tied up. Although this was free, but we have been busy 24 hours a day, almost you can say. Each of us were busy in making these sessions successful for you. And that's the reason I have not got enough time to respond to your questions. But tomorrow is the last day. I am having some relief. This weekend, I'm going to have a tight sleep. But after this weekend, I'm definitely going to respond to all your questions on YouTube. Yeah. Second thing, I will love to see you on this training program. As I said, there is a limited registrations available. I will be happy to see you for this training program. Thank you very much, friends. It was fantastic doing this session with you. I hope you got to learn something. And one more thing, I will request each one of you to register for Dr. Radhakrishnan Pillai's workshop. I'm sure you will get good benefit from his session. He's a renowned speaker. If you want, just go to YouTube and watch a couple of videos and you will enjoy listening to him. So friends, that's it from my side. Thank you very much. Hope to see you in my workshop as well as tomorrow's session and Radha's session. Thank you very much.